Are we there? Let's have a look. I think we are. Let me get my camera sorted out. Okay. On here. Right, Lucy Byatt's watching. Fantastic. Let me press that. Let me approve. Add. Here, Millie's here. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Chat background. Jolly quick and efficient.
Sure.
Get
So
up.
is the lighting okay?
Perfect. Yes, I can see you beautifully and wonderfully. Thank you, thank you. People are here. Why can't I watch myself? Oh, there I am. I can watch myself live there. This is interesting because I can talk to you in there and I can watch you up there. That might be a bit
Oh,
distracting.
no.
I put myself off.
Don't
That's
matter.
that's a little bit egotistical, Rob, to watch yourself on the telly. Let's get that off.
Can
Right.
can you hear me okay?
I can hear you beautifully. Can everybody else hear us and see us? Please tell us how we're doing. Welcome, everybody. You're all very quick and you're here and you're bouncing in. I thought we'd have a few minutes to get Lucy all settled in before we went live, but here you are. I don't know why I'm playing with cards because we ain't doing that game tonight. Put them away. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Right. Hey, right. I will introduce you to Lucy. Lucy hasn't done all this camera gubbins before, so be very, very nice to her and say lovely, lovely things. Briefly, Lucy's a psychic artist. I've known her for yonks and yonks and yonks, but haven't actually seen her for ages. So it's a weird one. It's a weird one. The last time I saw you in the flesh was in London, in a pub,
Correct.
doing magical things. So Lucy's a psychic artist. She has many talents and skills. My son's asking me, is there any food left over? So I'll just let my husband answer that question. I don't need to answer that. Hello, Kay from Tasmania in Australia. I'll quickly
Oh, Tasmania.
how good is this? They're all over the world. The reason I wanted Lucy to come on tonight is because she does something really incredible. She's got an amazing story. She's got a wonderful talent, and it isn't something you get to hear about from behind the scenes very often. So I really wanted to grab Lucy kicking and screaming because she is such a shy and retiring soul, and ask her to tell us a little bit about what she does, the kinds of people she works with, and why you might want to have a psychic reading and meet your spirit guide. So there's a little tempter as to what we're going to be talking about. So Lisa, why don't you let us know a little bit about how you got into what you're doing now? Let's start there. How did this all happen for you?
Well, first of all, thanks very much, Roberta, for this opportunity. Lovely to see you. And that was a great conversation we had the other day. I originally started doing readings and learning how to develop my psychic abilities many, many years ago in Cheltenham. And people kept saying to me, you know, you're a psychic artist. And I say, well, I know I'm psychic and I know I'm an artist. So I'm a psychic artist. And they went, no, 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 you're a psychic artist. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Really didn't know what it was. And eventually they kept saying, when you give a reading, do a drawing. And so I started to draw. And I started to draw portraits. And when people came for readings, I would draw a portrait. And I really wasn't sure what I was doing. And gradually I've built up this kind of real understanding of who I'm targeting at, who's coming forward, and why I'm doing those drawings. And I also realized that the drawings themselves were they were quite energized by spirit. So they're not just a drawing you put on the wall or anything like that. You use the drawing. You don't sort of put it away and put it in a drawer. You can if you want, but you can bring it out or do whatever you like. But you can use it to recharge back into the guide. So I realized that quite early on. And really, I've just been developing it over the years and working with color. I mean, color has been a great it's been a great way for me to communicate mediumistically through color, and it really suits me. And I put the color on the drawings, around the drawings. It tells me the past, the present, and the future. So, um, you know, that's where I started from, just being Joe Bloggett, and gradually it sort of evolved itself.
So you had a background within the psychic world and an interest in mediumship and psychic readings, and that was something like one path you followed. And you are a trained artist, you're a sculptor, a drawer, a painter, you are a person who expresses yourself artistically, and it was almost a natural coalition that then someone else noticed and went,
Well, yes, but there's always been a little thing going on, because when you're an artist, you know what you want to do. And if spirit suddenly sort of flip them into, their hand into your hand, and you're going, no, 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 I'm in charge. And then they go, no, we're in charge. And I'm, no, I'm in charge. It has always been in the past quite a struggle for me to give in. And we got to a point where we agreed on certain things. We agreed that I would do certain things with the eyes, and they would let me do it. I agreed that I would let them start off and take me where they want to take me. I had a very strange experience once where I was drawing for somebody, and suddenly, and I could see all these colours and parrots and things swirling around, and this lady was sitting there, and I was like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And all of a sudden, I literally felt a physical hand, a man's hand, slip into mine. And I thought, oh, this is too weird. And I thought, no, I've got to give it a go. I've got to let go. And I thought, no, wait a minute, I can't, I must, I must. Anyway, it turned out that her father had been an artist, and he loved to draw parrots. And as soon as I knew that, I just kind of relaxed and let his hand completely took over, which was a bit strange. It was a very kind of trust situation that was going to happen. But I could tell that he was a good soul, and it was a nice thing to happen. So.
wow,
it was an experience.
Incredible. I'm just going to quickly stop you there to mention that Dale's watching. Hi, Dale. And Kay said she loves working with colour and people's energy too. That's fantastic. Please feel free to put your comments in. Dale has actually got one of Lucy's pictures. So if any of you want to quickly have a spy on Dale's profile there, you can click, peep, peep. You'll see one of Lucy's psychic art pictures of Dale's guide. Because those of you that are regulars know Dale's a medium, because she's been on here before, so you can have a look. And I don't know if you've got any pictures with you, Lucy. Have you got anything to hand?
No.
Okay. I didn't prep that very well, did I? Have a picture in your hand, everybody.
No.
In that case, everybody, you have to click on. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a sniffle. Please, excuse me. Click on after we finish. Go and click on Lucy's profile and check out her work, because it's all there
on the website. Yeah.
So that's how you got into it. And now this is the crux of your work, the focus of the work that you love to do. Is that right? Is working with people in this way?
I mean, I've got two loves, and one of them, I've got many loves, but one of the main loves is getting in touch with people's guides. I love it. It just feels right. It's good. It feels natural. But my other love is teaching, and I've got a great belief that everybody's can access their own guides by themselves. I work with Kim Roberts doing Opening to Intuition, and we have a range of books and cards and da-da-da-da-da-da. And that was kind of, a lot of it was based on the work that I had been doing before, and the work I'd been doing with Kim that we were developing and working on, so that I could teach it, so that people could empower themselves in the way that I kind of empowered myself with it. And I want to be able to do it for people, but I want people to be able to do it for themselves. And colour, I want them to be able to communicate mediumistically through colour. Because it's such a high vibration, and you can't really go wrong with color. Nobody can, you decide what color means. It will tell you what it means. It's a real wonderful energy, and I want to give that to people, the opportunity to work with that.
That's fantastic. So when you're teaching, how does that work? Is it sitting in a room with you? Is it online? Is it something virtual? How do you... At the moment, how do you teach when you work with people?
Well, I've been doing workshops, quite a few workshops in and around London in the last couple of years. And obviously I've done them all over the shop. But what I like to do is to sit. I think the cat just hit the deck. Um,
I think you're right.
what I don't know. What I like to do is to get groups of people and sit round and get them to tune in. I get them to meet their guide. I bring their guide in. I get them to draw their guide on a template, you know, so you don't have to be able to draw. And then we get to do the colors, and then I get people to read other people's guides. I get them to draw other people's guides. So it's actually, to me, it's quite a simple process because I've been doing it for so long. And actually, once you tune into that, it really it's just something you can do on your own. You know, you really can. You know, find and ask and explore and do all sorts of things with it. So
It's amazing, and it's a wonderful gift. And I love what you're saying repeatedly. I'm hearing this. It is a simple process. This isn't a highly complex skill you have to train for years to learn to craft. It isn't something that's beyond the reach of anyone. If you have a physical limitation, it's something you can access. If you have an academic limitation, it's something you can access. I mean, there really is no barrier to the work that you're offering. Now, that's amazing, because so often, especially in the spiritual world, we spend a lot of time learning. It's very complex, and there's lots of words and shapes and symbols and things to memorize and workbooks, and it can get really heavy, and it turns a lot of people off. And especially recently, there's been a real sense of almost alienation from people who want something very accessible and simple and soft and with ease and flow. And I'm getting that from you more than anything. Is this your desire? Is more than anything to welcome people into that state of flow, to start them off, give them a little nudge, and then maybe sort of set them off on their own, but then maybe being there as a mentor, as someone they can keep maybe coming back to. Oh, I'm seeing you as a harbour, setting off or pushing these little boats out, and they can all come back to you every now and again to be rewrited. It's do you have long-term relationships with some of your students? Is it something that happens that they kind of...
I have done, yeah, I have done. But at the same time, I don't want to own it. It's not about me owning anything. I tell you what, to me, what it is every day you get up and you decide what you're going to put on. You got today and you've decided to have purple hair and a blue top with a nice sort of beigey scarf. And it looks kind of beigey to me. And, you know, people work with colour all the time.
Yeah.
And because of that, it makes them in tune with that color. Now, people see color differently. I often describe colors differently to other people, and it doesn't make me wrong and it doesn't make them right. But I just want to be able to give people that opportunity to take that and then to use that color for their benefits. You know, tune into the color and the color will tune into you. Tune into the color, it will tell you things. The color yellow, I mean, blimey, it will tell you things if you just look at it. If you let it come to you, it'll
be my next question, because I've seen intuitive art before. I've come across a few people online that I followed, and they're into intuitive art, and they teach processes of just simply scribbling and doing shapes, and you decide over a period of experience what a shape means to you and what a color means to you. But are there some go-to default settings for colour? I mean, you know, regardless of who you are, this must mean something, and regardless of who you are, this must mean something. I can then interpret it myself for why I'm wearing it. But if someone's picking up the pink pen and someone's picking up the blue pen, can you have you know, is there a baseline that you could give us, a few colours, a few ideas?
Yeah, well, go to your chakras. What's a chakra, you cry? Well, I mean, we have an energy system within our body, and it's the color of the rainbow. So let's take a rainbow and let's look at that rainbow. And we all know, I assume, like red it's a very vibrant color. It can be a very angry color. It can be a very energetic color. You know, and that's our base chakra. And then we can move up to our sacral, which is our emotional self, which is orange. And that orange really is something that we either love or hate sometimes. So it's our relationship to a color will tell us a lot about it. And then we go up, obviously, to get to the yellow. And that yellow, what's it saying to you? What's it about? Is it about the ego? Is it about illness? Is it about mental stuff? What's it about? Is it about me? Is it about you? So we kind of go through the colors. We know certain colors mean certain things. We know that purple, for example, a particular kind of purple, is spirituality. But we also know that a very other kind of purple could be a mental imbalance. It could be depression. It can mean all sorts of things.
What are you trying to say?
Your color's fine. You'll do it. It's fine.
Careful,
everything.
You're true, both totally imbalanced and quite spiritual, so you're not wrong on any of those levels.
But the wonderful thing about color is that what is it saying standing next to another color? But the even more wonderful thing is, yes, these are all sort of meanings and interpretations that we've all got. You can find them on the internet, you can read books about it, but actually you can also just tune in and find out yourself. And what happens the more that you tune in is what I was saying earlier, is that kind of psychic communication, the higher vibrational communication starts to click in. Your guides can quite easily work through color in a much more flowing way than they can, in my opinion, through any other kind of psychic means, you know, like a Ouija board or a Lola or whatever. Keep it high, keep your vibration high. That's my theory on the world. Yeah, I mean, that is one area that I really work a lot with, the color. And even when I'm doing my psychic portraits for people, their guides and everything, I rely on the color to tell me the truth. I can see somebody in front of me who's a really beautiful person. I can see that the guide that they've got's a very high spiritual guide. And then I could be coloring their lips red, not because they've got lipstick on or anything. I'm coloring in the drawing the lips red. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, somebody's had an argument today. Somebody has said something very sharp and very heavy and is in a process of having a strong discussion with somebody. And then I'll ask the question, have you been doing that? Oh, well, you know, actually it was this morning, things happen. And I'm like, okay, let's look at that. Then I'll look around the other colors and I'll start to read the other colors and see, okay, what's on your shoulders? What are you carrying? You know, what are you listening to? What are you saying? What are you feeling? You know, what are you thinking? So all of those things will affect each other. And at the same time, I look at them and say, well, do you know, this happened in the past, but this is going to happen in the future. So I use the color to kind of feed through everything that I'm doing. It's not always about the color. It helps. Sometimes I can do complete readings, or I do complete readings as well, without doing a drawing. I don't really need that, you know, because I'm tuning into the person. It's so important for me to tune into the doorkeeper, first of all. And often that's a relative, and they'll come forward, or it's a relative that's been hanging around for a long time, knocking at your door, going, hello, hello, it's your granny, I'm fine, and I want to talk to you. And I'm going, oh, well, you know, they've come in, and I can't let it go until they've come in, done their bit, and then moved out again. And then I know the door's open, and, you know, I can then start to give them a higher vibrational reading.
So naturally leading us now into a very exciting area that I'm sure everybody is just drooling to be asking about. And I'm not ignoring your comments, guys. I'm just kind of engulfed in this conversation, but I am seeing the comments. Someone's asking for.
Can I say I can see the comments as well? I don't know whether I'm allowed to comment or not on the comments. They're fantastic.
I mean, if you feel the need, please do. I've noticed someone's asking for a reading. We've got people saying they're loving colours, they're enjoying the conversation. I miss seeing people's colours when I was.
Hello, everybody.
All the people had colour around them as I grew up. The colours went. It would be wonderful to see them again. Okay, how could Claire click back into that? She's had it in the past. She's a very sensitive soul, and how could she open that? Is that something you could help her there with?
Yeah, some people go to the gym, you know, and they do all this and they get really strong and they do all that. And some people sit down and they do exercises or they do readings. So I think is it Claire? Was it Claire? I
Yeah.
think, first of all, to probably have a look at one of my books, have a look at that, maybe do one of my online courses, which I'm in the middle of trying to get together. And then really focus on doing readings for other people. Really, you don't have to charge for them. You don't have to make it a big, heavy duty deal. Actually, just try it out. Try, what colors do you feel? Get a pen and a pencil and scribble it out. And gradually, as that muscle begins, I mean, when I look at people, I don't necessarily see colors. Obviously, when I see you, Roberta, I always see a lot of color because you wear a lot of color, which is fantastic. But what I do is, if something's not right, for example, I can see they're very emotional, or they're very upset, or they're very depressed, or something like that. I might go in and I might just sort of, in my mind, go to where that area is, like the sacral, that orange, and try and clean it, to try and, to try and kind of soften it, to make it the right color. Color is really powerful when it's very pale. When it's really deep, it's got a lot to say about stuff, but when it's very pale, it's healing and it's powerful.
That reminds me very much of the session that we did together many years ago, actually at Dale's house. Sorry, guys, we're not being nepotistic. It's just a thing that happened. And we were drawing our own colours. And I kept being told I wasn't grounded, so I picked up the red and I put loads of bloody red at the bottom, thinking I'll show them how grounded I am. I was really proud of myself. Showed it to you and you went, oh, you're obviously not grounded. I went, look at all that red. You went, yes, when it's nice and pale, then it'll show you're in balance. Well, that's what shows you need it and you haven't got it. And I was so furious. So furious. I thought I'd done really well. No, it's true, I think you would find I'm a lot more grounded now than I was back then. But Claire, I'll just point out, Claire, her business is called Two Tone Art. She is an artist and she works in graphite and she works in negative space. So she does beautiful portraits in negative space in graphite and black and white. And we've had a little conversation about the colour, haven't we, Claire? And I think hopefully this conversation is having a nice little tap on the side, because colour is something, again, choosing not to work in the colour. Again, we've had this conversation ourselves, that it's a safe space. It's not so challenging. It's not so emotionally triggering to stay in the black and white. And it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage to step out back into that world of colour and receive what it's telling you and feel those feelings. And I'm just really feeling the juxtaposition here. Thanks for watching, Claire. I appreciate it, because the juxtaposition of you representing colour, like with a great roaring great rainbow banner there, and Claire's there with her black and white. And it's time for the merge. Talking of rainbow banners, here's Donna Carter. Hello, Donna. Nice of you to join us. Donna's a rainbow barrier banner waving crazy woman.
I just have to reply to that and say that there's black and white. I love black and white. There's colour, and there's right. Okay, if it frightens you, okay. In my experience, the best thing if something frightens you like that is to do it gently, slowly, gently, and work with somebody who, and take it away from your artwork. Do it completely differently. Do something else and just gently work with it and make mistakes and really kind of begin to love it. I mean, I didn't like color when I was a kid because I couldn't tell the difference. I didn't know how to spell the names of the colors. I didn't know what color was what, and it took me a long time to be able to do that kind of thing. And I found it very embarrassing because I couldn't do it. And I was really surprised when a lot of people would say that you're a psychic artist and you work a lot with color. And I'm like, me? Color? Why would I work with color? It means nothing to me. I hate it. And actually, I think because I don't have a theoretical background in color, even at art school, I used color schmuller. I didn't deal with it. I just dealt with black and white. Because I don't have that background, I can use it intuitively. And you could, somebody could take me apart, theoretically maybe, and I'm like, well, it means nothing to me because I'm not coming from that approach. It's my approach. And that's why I know that most people, if they want to work with colour, they can do it in a way that it means something to them. It doesn't have to. Red to somebody else might mean something completely different than the base chakra. It might actually symbolize, and it will have that intention, color, intention, meaning. It's the same as going into other people's guides where they're from the planet Zazungu, and you think, oh, cool, blimey, this is weird and surreal, but who am I to say what's real and not real?
Yeah.
It's the same with color. Who are we to say what means and what doesn't mean? We have references we can work with, but don't tie yourself down with what other people think about color.
There you go, Claire. You have been told. Lydia's just put in here, it took me many years to be brave enough to use colour, but I'm so glad I did. And I don't know if you've caught up with any of Lydia's artwork, Lucy, but Lydia paints
Not yet.
angels. Oh,
What does she mean?
angels. And she does fantasy portraits. So she'll take you and put you into a fantasy environment and paint you, her sitter, as a fairy, as a giant, as a goddess, as a nymph, as, whatever your elemental representation is. Lydia can take you,
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
put you into this beautiful fantasy environment, which is just the best thing ever. It's really exciting. So we're all the artists on today, but I was trying to get to one point of working with guides. You've mentioned it a few times. I'm sure people are watching going, but what? But guides? Who? How many? Where are they? Why are they? What are they for? Have we all got them? Are you sure? Discuss.
I love your style. Right, we've all got guides. Number one, we may have a main guide that we focus on. We may work as a team with our guides. And I think I was talking to you about this the other day. There are times when, if I need a particular guide, like an emotional guide, I know my red Indian will be there. And you might all say, everybody's got a red Indian. Yeah, everybody has got a red Indian. They were only slaughtered, a couple of years ago, and their purity of spirit has come back to help us. It's come back to join with us, and we need to kind of honor that and experience it and work with them. When, for example, my Indian guide comes in, it's always about the emotional. If I have a very particular client who's working on an emotional level and I'm like, oh, I don't know quite what to say, what do I do? I've not got any kind of opinion on whatever is this person's doing. I wait for that guide to come in, and then I wait for him to kind of really open my mouth, and I think, oh, did I say that? Hey, that sounded great. And I know that they're emotionally, I can feel it through my chakras. I know that he's sitting inside me and he's pushing out the energy to that person in a healing fashion. And so I allow him to do that, and I don't dictate what it is that he does. I just, I channel so that he can do that. I trust him to do that. So to answer your question, everybody has guides. Everybody has spirit helpers, and you have your grandparents are often very good spirit helpers, but you can also have elementals. You can have lots of different guides on all sorts of different levels. In fact, before I come on tonight, many years ago, I drew it was almost like a Tinkerbell, and I've never known what that Tinkerbell was about. And I know it's a guide, and I've got it in a few of my things. I don't really know. I've never really used her. And actually, she came on just before I came on today, and I was thinking, oh, I get it. I know what you're about now. And I'm working with her as I'm talking to you. I'm conscious of her going like that. So yes, we all have guides. My job in the world is to help you really begin to see who that guide is and how that you can start working with them. Some people have very strong relationships with just one guide. You know, they will have, you know, like Derek Acora, for example, will talk to, I don't know, I can't remember what his guide's name was, you know, Sam. And, you know, and he'll go, is that right, Sam? Oh, come on, Sam, what's that? And Sam will tell him whatever or who, and I'm just using him as an example. There's plenty of people that work like that. Now, Sam might actually be, for example, he might be like a portal into lots of different other guides. But he's pulled out one guide that he's called Sam, and Sam is actually, you know, a mixture of all sorts of different guides. If we sat down and did a workshop, you would pull in a guide. We'd probably, in another workshop, pull out another guide, another workshop, and you think, how many guides have I got? Well, you've got as many as you want, but you will have a core team that will communicate with you on a regular basis when you need them to. And they might, as with Sam, come just as one package. They might just come as one ball of information that you can tap into.
So I'm thinking Abraham Hicks.
Yeah,
she
exactly.
channels Abraham, who actually says, I'm a collective. I am the collective. I'm the voice of your collective all.
Yeah.
We've got all the answers to all the things, but we've only got one message, and the message is, there it is.
Yeah.
Now, okay, the guides, tricky question time. Am I born, boom, all my guides are in? Does it depend on my life path and my personality? Do they personify in response to me and my energy, or do I send out fish hooks and pull them in at a time of need? I'm wondering how the relationship develops.
Well, I'm not the font of all knowledge, but I do have some knowledge. And what I would say to that is that how I perceive it, because everybody perceives this kind of unknown reality in their own way. And how I perceive it is that before I decided to come to Earth, for example, I said to myself, oh, I've got to do this, that, and the next thing. But you know what? Who's going to come with me? And there's a kind of I have to go to the past lives thing and the future life thing. Ooh, it's all kind of mixed in with each other. So I'm coming down as myself into this world, but I've already been in existence for a few other million years, and I've worked with a lot of people, as of many people, and I've known lots of people, and my vibration has connected with a lot of other vibrations. So say, for example, I bring in my Indian guide. Now, my Indian guide has a kind of image in my reality, but actually he is somebody who I may even have been an aspect of his reality. I may even have been in spirit when he was alive, and we may have communicated, and when I've come down, it's like slicing butter. It's so easy because we are of one diamond. We live in the same diamond. And so I don't have to pull him down. In fact, sometimes for me, and I think for other people, I have to keep him at bay, because it's like, I can find myself sometimes I'm sitting on a bus going, yeah, that's right, I know. And I haven't heard anything because I don't hear my guides speak. I get a vast download and I go, yeah, I know, yeah, that's right. And I think, what am I doing? What am I saying? And then afterwards it goes blah, 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 like that. So the communication isn't, for me, it'll be different for everybody. For me is kind of non-verbal, although I do verbalize it, but so I could pull in a guide. I think it's just about revealing them. I think that many a person has their grandmother, for example, who will be their gatekeeper, who will look after them, who will give them love because they need it. There's a little bit of confusion going on in their life. And that grandmother will want to give as much love and support as possible. And sometimes when you're tuning into somebody, it's really important to allow that grandmother to come forward, because as soon as the person acknowledges the grandmother, that psychic connection is, you can see it go, it's alive. You know, the person's acknowledged it, the grandmother's got the communication, the door is open, and the love, you know, the person can start to feel the love. They can start to feel the support. And so in a way, I am calling them forward, but I'm only calling them forward because they're knocking on the door and somebody sat down and said, oh, I don't know, who have I got? As you know, I probably don't have a guide. And you're like, what? You know, there's a kind of, I always think it's a little bit like Ghost, that film Ghost, and I know everybody talks about this, where Whoopi Goldberg's sitting there, and actually there's a queue of people all around going, oh, can I have a go? Can I get in? Can I talk? Because I know they know me. You know, we have to communicate. So there are many ways for guides to be alive in your world and to work with you and to
This
be.
is different to when Dale's doing mediumship and she's bringing in a message from spirit. Guide, no, yes, no, same, different.
Oh, I see what you mean. The relationship it can be different. The relationship it's similar. What Dale does is Dale brings in a very solid entity from that person's family unit, from my experience.
Yeah.
And she really communicates. She might as well be picking up the phone and talking to them. She is so clear. I mean, lovely, crystal. She might not be at the level where she brings their guides through, because she doesn't maybe speak in that language. She's got a particular language, but the vibration is still high and it's still the same. My language is to do with, yes, okay, I can bring in, you know, your Auntie Beanie, but I can also, having done that through practice and desire, I really want to bring in that much higher vibration. You know, it might come from all the way from another planet, and I'm pulling it in wherever it is. You know, I really want to make that connection, a bridge it. You know, I like to do the bridge. You know, from you to them.
Really fascinating to me, because it's now reminding me of something else that I've kind of experienced personally and had a theory on, is that some of what we call guides are aspects of ourselves from different spaces and places and times. And there's a concept of, I've loved and I've known since I was a child. When I was a child lying in bed feeling very, very lonely, very depressed, and feeling like I had no friends, I'm very aware of having a conversation with an imaginary person in my room who told me that everything was going to be okay and kind of gave me a little preview of the future. When I was 21, 22, and I just got married, I remember distinctly lying in my bed, going backwards to deliver a message to my child. And at that moment realizing, I'm going to get emotional, realizing that when I was a child, I had met myself from the future, and having a whole solid belief system that so much of our guidance, even the Pleiadian, as you're discussing, and I actually discussed this with a client today, because I was talking about aspects within. So the guides are, if you like, aspects without, of which we are simply a physical form. And then I think we have aspects within, which is another part of my work, is bringing up the aspects within who want to come forward, and the archetypes, if you like, want to be discussed. But that some of our guides are actually not other. So when you said about your Native American, I'm thinking, well, not only could you have lived with him, but you could have been him. So it's a past life, but your essence, oh, it's weird. We don't just live in the here and now in this solid form, that we are still completely connected to the all. And that means we are still out there. And there's an aspect of me right now on Pleiades or Sirius, and there was an aspect of me in the past, and there are many, and there are many aspects in the future, and there are also aspects to the left and right on different and I'm not just here. I'm so
Yeah.
the guides. And this isn't a point of argument. It's almost a point of, is it more and even bigger than we've even thought before? That it's not. You can trust the guides completely because they're just the part of you that knows in the now. They know. They know.
You can get very high energy guides that have never been human, that are never going to be human, that
Mm.
you haven't been them and they haven't been you. Their vibration is so unique to a kind of universal vibration out there. Um, but I always find that it's very important to scan your past lives,
Mm.
and to also, you know, through some of the teaching I've done through the workshops, but also to go into future lives. I've often said, let's go into future life and bring back the gift that that future life can give us, and it's really revealing what they will give you. And if you hold on to it and think, whoa, that's a gift I'm going to have, but I could have it right now, I'm going to start playing with that and be conscious of it. Because the more you do that, by the time that life comes in, you know, you're going to be even more conscious of what's happening. I mean, I have a when I'm sculpting, I have to wait. I have to wait until, oh, no, I'm sitting there going, God, this is like working with mud. And then I'm like, ooh, right, here, go. When I'm doing, I used to do, I have a business, I used to do a lot of caricatures and things. And, you know, they would say to me, right, could you do this many by then? And I'm like, you don't really understand. I've got a Victorian guide, and I think it's a past life, and he was a caricaturist, and I have to wait until I feel him get off the bus and come into me. And then when I get that feeling, bang, I'll get the likeness. And that's kind of difficult, because if your talent is via something else or another life or past life, you know,
Mm.
it's kind of fluid. And so you can't perform on, you know, spec. You can't, I mean, obviously I can with other things, but there are certain things I know that I have to wait until I've aligned with those guides to be able to do that. But you're right. I think it's important that we, when we're talking about guides, that we are open to everything and anything. I think we need to be structured. I think we need to be conscious. I think we need to protect ourselves. I think we need to be honest. I think we need to be clear. And also, I think that by bringing in those elements, we're actually saying, yeah, I want you in my life, and I
Mm.
want you to be able to help me, but I want you to be able to help me in a very particular way, and not just kind of not just invite anything, any old thing in. You know, you really have to be, you have to say, it doesn't feel right, or that feels right,
It's
or
going to be my next kind of question, I think, is that we are talking about dealing with wider energies, and protection is important. So, go to protection systems for you just to make sure you are ready. What would you advise for anyone that's watching that's thinking, I'm going to go off and have a go at this? I'm going to go and see if I can get in touch with my guides. What's some really good, easy, thorough ways of staying
things
safe?
to do.
Mm.
First of all, buy my books. And second of all, the most important thing is to ask at the very beginning for the highest vibration and that you are protected. You have to ask. And the way that I always do it, I always bring in my angels. I cover myself with my angel wings, and I say, I really want the highest vibration possible. And my angels aren't sort of like, they're huge, you know, and they wear chainmail and they've got big swords, and you wouldn't want to mess with them. They're, you know, they're not pussyfooting about. They're really going to protect me, and I know that, and I believe in them. And I've felt them, and I've seen things that have happened, and I'm like, ooh, lovely. So I would bring in that first of all, and then I would actually put ye olde bubble of protection around me, and I would sit very quietly, and I would ask that what comes to me is for my highest good, not for anybody else or anything else, for my highest good. And ask for that protection. Ask for that in a loving way, because if you ask for something in a loving way, you will be given it back in a loving way. If you demand, I want this, I want that, or the next thing, or you're angry or whatever, the universe is a mirror. So it's, I mean, you shouldn't be frightened of that, but self-protection, you know, I see a lot of people, I mean, I'm really big on protection and I'm really big on doing things the right way. And I see a lot of people getting involved in psychic spiritual world who don't do that. And they walk into places, they do ghost hunts. And I'm nothing against people doing ghost hunts. I love watching it on telly. But I think, have they protected themselves? Have they really? What are they picking up? What are they taking home? Because I know that you can take stuff home that will knock you out for a couple of weeks. And I've had it, don't want it again. So it's really important to visualize whatever you like, what feels good for you, chainmail, whatever it is, when you're going into a place or you're going into, but when you're looking for your guides, it's all about asking. And it's all about asking in the right way. And it's when you journey to, I mean, I go through in my courses, from all my North American training and stuff, I take people through a kind of a journey, a lower world journey, very gentle. Everybody does it, you know, through a park, through the colours, through this, and then gently the guide comes forward. And even the most stubborn, you know, people will go, oh, all right, then I can sort of see something. And by the end of it, you know, they've seen them. And, you know, because we have belief problems a lot of the time, you know, I don't believe it's happening. It's never going to happen for me. And actually, it always generally 99.9% happens. So if you ask, in my opinion, and you do it the right way, and you keep the vibration high, and you do the protective with the angels or whatever you like to protect yourself with, you will get an answer. You will get a response. You will get. The difference is that you will get it, you will feel it, you will see it, you know, all that kind of thing in your imagination, to a certain extent. But when you have an image of a guide, when you have a physical image of a guide, it just ups the game, you know, because they put their energy into that. And then that is a reference for you. That is something that you can say, okay, I know your energy's in there. And they can go, yeah, I know you know that my energy's in here. Let's work together. Let's really, and the person goes, yeah, I trust you. You're here for me. Rather than just saying, well, it might have been my guide. I'm not quite sure if it was. You know, it felt right, but I don't know. But once you start doing it and you get into it, you say, right, if you're going to come in, I want this and I want that. And you come in and you go, oh, okay, it's you. I feel it. It's there. I can see it, you know.
So I was going to ask, you mentioned about the portraits that you do for people, and again, if you want to see the portraits, go over to Lucy's profile, and I think it's
PsychicArtCoach.com.
Psychic Art Coach with dashes, psychic dash art dash, no, all one word.
All one word.
PsychicArtCoach.com. If someone could write that in the comments for me, that would be marvellous. Thank you so much, those of you that are on computers, because we're not, we're on phones.
And the books and the courses and everything are opening to, with the number, opening to intuition.com, and that's all together.
Okay, so if anyone wants to be a good little secretary, and just pop those in the comments for me, because my people are lovely and they're very helpful and they do these things for me because they're lovely. So you've got your portrait, and you did say earlier on, the one thing is that you can work with them, and then it gives you this almost a doorway. So could you give me an example as to, you know, you've had a session, you've given me my portrait, take my portrait off home. How am I working with that portrait? How is it benefiting me? And what ways is it supporting me in my work?
Well, I'm going to sort of go to an example. Oh, Millie, go. Thank you. I'm going to go to an example, which is something we talked about earlier. And I asked Rachel if I could give this sort of example. Rachel's a well-being advisor, and I did a reading for her. And but I didn't really know her very well. And I kind of went round to see her. And I went to her house and I walked through the front door. And as I described to her, it was as if I'd been hit with a sound boom. And I went, boo, 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 boo. Oh, this is weird. And I didn't understand what the energy was. I hadn't been I hadn't ever experienced that energy and that force before. And this is just the other day. And I walked in and I waited, and then all of a sudden I had this very strong sensation of a tree lady with a kind of cloak on and everything, and she turned round to me and she took off the top and she looked like a witch, a wizened old witch, and she said, "You think I'm a witch, don't you? Well, here I am." Now, at that split second, I know that she has another image, and it's not time for Rachel to know what that other image is yet. I mean, these things happen. But I know the incredible energy that the spirit has in her house. And as soon as we kind of, I kind of apologized for not knowing who she was and everything died down and everything was fine. And I started to draw her. By drawing her, I have now made her real for Rachel to focus her attention on, because she has the most I mean, I didn't know that Rachel was, did homeopathy and made potions and did all that kind of stuff. I didn't know all that. And because I thought she was a witch. I thought Rachel was a witch at first, and I was a bit wary. And not there's anything wrong with witches. I love them. But, sometimes you kind of want to identify, is that person a witch or not? I felt maybe she did rituals and things, which again is fine, good. Anywho, once I'd established that, she was this kind of had this incredible tree energy that you wouldn't mess with, you couldn't push over in a storm. Wow, what an incredible force to have. So she can focus on that now. And then we started talking, and I could see that when I was doing the drawing of the cape, in this part of the cape, it was all blue. And I thought, I said to her, are you working with dreams? This is dream energy. What are you working with? Because of the colour. And then I started going to the dream thing. And she said, well, actually, I am thinking about doing dream therapy. And I thought, great, you've got this fantastic guide to help you. And at the same time that I made that connection, I got another connection, which was a higher guide from, I think, a different planet. And I started to bring him down physically in my kind of physical way to really bring him down. Now, Rachel's job is to put those two energies together. And if I draw that guide, she can focus on, or she might be able to draw him with one of the templates. She brings down that guide. She can focus on bringing those two energies together. And when she starts doing her dream therapy, these two energies are going to be phenomenal for the psychic healing she's going to be able to do. Because when I say dream therapy, she's actually going to dream with people. She's going to go into other people's dreams and do healing through dreams. I know, it's great, isn't it? And by drawing these guides, I've kind of made it real for her. I didn't know she was going to do that, but she's been sitting writing about it, thinking, should I do it? Should I not do it? And so it's kind of making it, I've given her permission to do it now, but not only have I given her permission, it's not me, is it? I mean, whatever. But not only she's been given permission, I've given her a tool to use, an energy that is with her that she is now aware of. The veil has been opened, and it's like, hey, Rachel, look, I'm with you, and I'm doing this with you. And she's like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not making it up. It is something I can do. So that's where the drawings come in. That's what she can focus on. That's how, and as time goes on, I mean, I know that drawing of that witch will change and will change into something else. It's not for us to, well, I sort of can see it at the moment, but I'm not going there at the moment until Rachel wants to. And she might get there herself anyway. So they do have a purpose. They do have a focal point. They do have an energy. And I always think once you've done it, you've opened a door. And it's like a portal. You've opened a tiny little portal into something of your energy system. And once that portal's open, go in, work with it. It's not to be, you don't need to be afraid of it. It's a natural, thing. And if it's been done with a high vibration, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's really something you can work with.
So we are near the end of our hour, and we've had a wonderful time. Before we go, I will just quickly say, I know there's 4 people still watching because people do come and go. If anyone's got any questions, just before we finish, you can quickly chuck a question into the comments, and we will pause for a few moments because it takes a little while. There's always a lag. So you do get one chance now to ask a question. But this has been amazing, Lucy, and thank you so much for, coming and sharing some time with us. And again, if you're watching on Catch Up, you can find Lucy on psychicartcoach.com.
Yeah.
Psychic Art Coach.
Yeah, that's right. psychicartcoach.com.
Yes, who are you?
Correct.
Who am I? psychicartcoach.com. You can find Lucy Byatt on Facebook. You can find her trainings on Opening to Intuition. Dale said she's watched it all and she loved it. Thank you, Dale, and thank you for being with us. Dale is responsible for us two knowing each other in the first place, so thank you very much, Dale. You're a sweetheart. You can work with Lucy. You can have a portrait done. You can have a reading done. You can learn to do this for yourself. Millie, you're an absolute star. Thank you so much. psychicartcoach.com. You're fantastic. So if you're watching on Catch Up on the replay, then all of these comments are going to be showing, and they're there now. That's fantastic. No questions coming through, which is brilliant. You've obviously explained yourself very, very well. I'm pretty sure you're going to find yourself a little bit bombarded, Lucy, with new inquiries of people wanting to know more about the work that you do. At the moment, in person in London. But if you bother Lucy hard enough and there are enough of you and you're going to throw Mwonga at her, I'm pretty sure she'd go to damn well anywhere to come and work with you. Because she's fabulous and she's like that. And she needs to come back to Cheltenham. Where do we buy the book, says Karen. Lucy seems to have frozen. Have I lost Lucy? Lucy, where do we buy the book?
I switched myself off by mistake.
How rude. Where do we buy the book? You said you had a book.
Openingtointuition.com. It's on Amazon as well. We've got a book on past lives. We've got a book on how to work with your guides, how to meet your guides, just the very basics of protection and what is energy and how to use it. And we've got a book on angels, and we've got a book on shamanic journeying, and we've also got animal cards and color cards that you can use, also a book on psychic art.
And these are all under the Opening to Intuition label, even in Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Just put it in and you'll see them all. Yeah.
Fabulous. They also said, I've learned so much about colour and what it means on Lucy's workshops.
No, thanks, Dale.
Bless. It's been fascinating. It's brilliant. Such good. You've got to come back. You've got to come back and play with us again. And maybe next time you come, I'll get you to bring your pencils with you.
Why not? I mean, I didn't even think to get a drawing out. I just kind of thought we'd chat. So
cool. Well, it's a good excuse. You can come again. You can bring some drawings to show us. Maybe get your pencils out and show us. I don't know. Maybe you'll link with someone and do a little scratch. I don't know. Who knows? There's so many things we can do together, people. If you've enjoyed this, like and share. I should have been saying this right at the very beginning. Please like and share the broadcast into your feed. So let more and more people find out about the work we're doing. Lisa said, thank you. The end kept breaking up. Everyone using the internet, so I'll go back and catch it in the end. It's always worth watching from the beginning all over again. Like all best programs, go watch the repeat. But we'll bring it to an end. We've been here for an hour. Thank you so much, Lucy. You're an absolute gem, and you've been very brave. And I know this was a big adventure for you.
I loved it. It's great. I've now know what that guide's about as well. It's great. And
Isabel is a performer. Yes.
Yeah. It's about communicating and performance, and I can feel it right now. It's sort of all around me. It's lovely.
Kay's here. She said, thank you. It's nice connecting with you both. Well, it's been lovely to have you, Kay. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I know we do go on for a rather long time, but it's such fun. And I'll be back on Saturday at 6 p.m. UK time doing my normal readings. Lucy will be back at some point in the future, and I might even have another special guest for you next week. Who knows? It depends who I can coerce to come and share my little corner of the internet. It's been such fun. Thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you, Lucy, for joining us. and we'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Roberta.
soon.
Love
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.